everybody, my name is Gina Paulus and I am very excited to welcome you to the Homebodies Fitness Show. Today we have Tiffany on the show as our guest. And she's going to help us demonstrate an upper body routine with an emphasis on the tricep area. That's the back of the arm that is a little bit challenging to firm. Be sure to stay till the end when we will discuss the best diet to improve the results from a strength exercise routine. So, what brought you to the workout area as far as like your fitness routine that you have now?
So I always did sports in high school and a little bit in college, and then after school you don't have that routine, you don't have that practices, so I kind of gained a little weight and then was looking for help doing it. So I'm a person that needs to have a class or a sport or something, so having somebody tell me what to do helps a lot.
So how many years have you been doing that?
I've been working with a trainer for about 5 years.
Oh, sweet.
And it's awesome, and because of that I've done 4 half marathons and some long distance running, so it's helped just overall.
That's great. Running is so good. Now, one thing running doesn't help as much on is the arms, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna try to tackle those so you have a nice little adjunct to your cardio program.
That's my weakest area too, is like my triceps. So
that's a very common area, the back of the arm. Just about everybody wants some help with that. So we're gonna get to it today and see how we can help you out.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna start out with the band overhead tricep exercise. So I'm gonna flip around to let you guys see here. So we're bending and then straightening like that. So one of the arms is holding.
Should I turn around this way?
You can, just to kind of get yourself set up.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's holding down here, and then she's got the band here. Now spacing wise, you can just pick about 2 feet of distance and try that out, and you can always adjust if you need to. So go ahead and straighten your arm up overhead. Good. And I'm gonna have you spin around so they can see you from the front. And we want to take this part of the hand and we want to go ahead and extend that. That little, that little extra movement right there is what's gonna get your triceps. So we'll do the left arm right now. We're doing the left arm. See if you can straighten your right arm too, completely. Good. And that's gonna give her a good stretch too. Okay. And then we wanna keep the elbow touching the ear, if you can, or the bicep touching the ear. Bring it in as much as possible. Good. Now keep giving me that pinky action up there.
This is harder than it looks, guys.
So right there.
So that little.
All right, why don't you switch sides now? We're just gonna flip it all around. See, I know it's like a little confusing to get stuff going on behind your head and you can't see what you're doing.
So here.
Good. So what it is this part here, we wanna go like that. Very top, good.
Okay.
That's gonna give you that extra squeeze.
I feel that.
Totally. So if you get someone with really strong triceps, a lot of times you'll see a horseshoe shape on the side of their arm, and that's the tricep muscle. And to get that muscle to kick in, we really do need that hand motion part. And this band is great if you're traveling or if you're working at home. So you don't have to rely on the equipment at the gym all the time. You can do one more of those for us. Now, do you notice a difference between arms?
A little bit. I'm left-handed, so this arm is a lot stronger.
Oh, okay. So get a lefty. Always mixes things up a little bit. All right, I'll take that back, and then we're gonna go to the dips off the chair. So we have a couple different versions here. We're gonna try the bent-legged one first. Okay. So go ahead and have a seat. All right. So she's gonna put her hands just like that. She's gonna hold onto the chair and walk her fanny off the edge, and then you're just gonna keep your legs bent. Okay. So that this way you go ahead and bend your arms. So she can use her legs to help if she gets kind of stuck at the bottom. This takes some of the weight out of the exercise. So rather than pushing up all of her weight, she's only pushing part of her weight. Yeah. Which still, I'm sure, is a good workout.
It's still a lot.
Yeah, so we'll do maybe 3 more of these, give her a little rest, and then we'll talk about the advanced version. Talk about. Maybe we won't actually do. You can do 1 more, just like that. Good work. All right, so go ahead and just sit down for a second. So that is what I suggest starting with if you have not done dips yet. But we're gonna make her give the advanced ones a little bit of a shot today. So go ahead and try with the legs straight.
Oh man.
Yep. Now, one thing she's doing really well is she's letting her hips go back almost under the chair. You want to do that. You do not want to let your hips shoot way forward, which is the most common error I see with this exercise. You're also going to get a nice stretch in your shoulders, and the shoulders can get pretty tight from running because you're in the same posture all the time. Also just with desk work and things. So this is wonderful for her. It's stretching her and strengthening her all at once. Let's just do 2 more of these. You want to make sure you lock the arms out, which she's doing a great job with. Nice.
I've made that mistake with the hips before, so that's why I tried
Okay, so she...
Yeah, I've been corrected on that before.
Yeah, exactly. And because when your body moves away from the chair, that's taking the pressure away from your arms. And even though that feels really good, we're trying to work our arms. So we don't want to really take away from that. So we're gonna move next to the pullovers, which is one of the ones on the mat. I'm gonna have you lie right on your back. And you can keep your head up this way, actually, would be best. So I'm gonna have you spin around, mixing it up on you.
Oh, man.
So go ahead and lie down all the way. So we're gonna grab the weight. You can hold it right on the sides. If it's a long weight, you can even hold it right in the middle. So we're gonna make sure to keep the arms super straight here. Good. Now you're gonna move the weight as far back behind your head as you can. If you touch the floor, fine, but you don't have to. You just go as far as you can with those arms staying straight, and then she's gonna bring it right back up. Now the pace of the weight training, for our purposes today, I want her to lower slow and pull fast. Okay. So you're gonna go slow on the way back, then pull fast, but stop at a hard stop right here. Perfect. Nice. So the hardest thing about this one is probably keeping the arms straight.
Yes.
So that's what you always wanna keep your mind on. She could probably handle a little bit of a heavier weight, but it's always good to make sure you start with something that you can manage before you go up in weight. So this is a 10. This is a good starting point for a lot of people. You can also do the exercise with a smaller weight in each hand, which makes sure that both of your arms are working evenly. Because if you use just one weight, your stronger arm can do most of the work without you even noticing. So sometimes that's a good variation too. This is another one that's gonna give a nice stretch through the lats, which are right in here. Those muscles get very tight when you breathe hard when you're running. So that's a nice thing as well. And also the more powerful your upper body is, it actually does help you when you run too. So yeah, it's gonna really be good always.
I noticed that that's something that's more sore sometimes when I run is my upper body, but like you said, from holding it up in that same...
from holding your body in that tense. Yeah. Totally.
This feels really good.
Your left arm is a little bent still, so
oh no!
Yeah, you really want to think right here is where you want to squeeze. And this one works your chest as well. You can take a break there. So most of these exercises aren't gonna just work one muscle. They're gonna work an assortment, which is fine because we obviously wanna hit all our muscles. So that one's chest, tricep. We're gonna move next to the skull crusher, and this is one of the few that is, that's a funny name, I should talk about that. So what we're doing is we're moving the weight to our head, and then we're pressing back. Yep, so that is the same grip on the sides. So go ahead and move the weight right to your forehead. Yep, and then extend quick and squeeze. So one thing with the triceps that's really important is that extra squeeze. So it's not just straightening your elbows, it's like locking your elbows out. Now some people say, oh, I heard it's not good for my elbows to lock them out. It depends on what you're doing. So if you're jumping, you don't want to lock your knees out because that's too much pressure. But something like this, where you're on your back and your arms are in the air, that is fine to do as long as it's a controlled motion. So you definitely want to do that because when you lock your elbows, that's how you're engaging your triceps the most. And it also ensures that you're ready to move to the next level. Why don't you show us one where you don't lock them out?
Okay,
Yeah, so if you're doing that and you say, oh, I'm good at this, I can just move up in weight, you're gonna find yourself getting a heavier and heavier weight that you're not really ready for. So this is gonna ensure that you're exercising with your weight training in a safe fashion too. Good.
That extra little...
That little squeeze, totally.
That makes such a difference.
Yeah, I mean, at home, you guys can even just lie on your backs and try it without a weight, honestly. If you're not used to squeezing your arms straight, you're gonna feel that. So it's, you know, these little things make a big difference. And you could do one more of those. Okay. Great job, I'll take that weight from you.
Awesome.
So the triceps are one of the only muscles that you can almost get away with never using during your daily life. right? If you go grocery shopping, you're carrying bags, it's your biceps, it's the front, okay? If you're climbing stairs, it's your legs, your thighs. One of the only times that you have to use those triceps is if you're trying to put something way up on like a shelf really high. I mean, like, how many times are you gonna do something like that, right?
Well, I'm short, so
right?
It happens more.
Okay, so that's fair, but like I was recently flying and I couldn't believe how many people, look, they tried to put their bag up in the overhead compartment and all of a sudden they're like, wow, I can't do it, and they needed help. Okay, fine, like you get someone to help you, but wouldn't it be great if we could all just do it by ourselves, right? So this is one of the things where we wanna make sure that we can do the things we need to do and we don't have to go hunt someone down to help us when we could have just worked our triceps and not had that problem, right? So we're gonna move to an elbow push-up next. Okay, so this will be fun. I'm gonna have you go on your knees.
I'm gonna go this way?
Right on the mat, yep,
Okay.
you wanna face that way, perfect. So go ahead and show me how you'd set up a push-up on the knees with your hands.
So, probably somewhere maybe?
That isn't bad. I personally like to have people put their hands right under their chest.
Okay, yes.
So this is more of a classic push-up. We're not gonna do that though. We're gonna move our hands about 1 foot in front of that. So go ahead and walk your hand forward and then the other, perfect.
Okay.
So it's at an angle, so you can see her arm is slanted forward. Now, what I'd like you to do, Tiffany, is drop your elbows down to the mat.
Okay.
Let them touch and then press them up. Try your best to make them touch together so you're not leading with your strong left arm there.
This is really hard.
I know, this one is another one. It's deceivingly challenging.
This is very hard.
You're doing wonderful though.
Nope.
Yeah, so that little, it's the up that's tough, right?
It's the down.
So
is
try
okay.
engaging your core, flexing your abs, and that's gonna give you a little bit of a better shot at doing this at the same time. Looks like we,
It's challenging.
it is challenging, I understand. So let's just try 2 more. Press through your fingertips too. So not just, so as far as the hands, this is a good thing to talk about. So you can have this, or you can have this. And that's gonna give you a lot more strength.
Extra.
And you know what? It might be that when you're new to it, you're gonna do that little wiggle thing.
Yeah.
Just be aware of it and just work on it. Sometimes maybe the first 5 reps, you might have to might be able to do them evenly, and then you're gonna start to squirm a little bit. That's fine, as long as you're not hurting anything, you don't feel any pain, but you just wanna know what we're working toward, right?
I've never done those before, so that's very challenging.
They are, and once you get real good at them, you can even do them right on your toes. But you gotta start at the beginning, you know, to get to that point. So we're gonna go next to the inchworm exercise. So she likes
I like
this
these
one.
ones.
This one really gets your heart pumping, and it's also a nice stretch in addition to a tricep curl. So I'm gonna have you go ahead and reach down to you, touch your feet, and then walk your hands forward as far as you can. Yep, perfect. And then walk your feet into your hands.
These are very fun.
Good. Now go ahead and walk backward. Trying to keep the legs as straight as we can. If your hamstrings are super tight, you might have to bend your knees, that's fine. Just keep them as straight as you can. Sweet. So that was 1 cycle. Now I'm gonna be a little mean and have her do a push-up when she gets out there.
Of course.
So we're gonna add the push-up
I knew it.
into the inchworm.
So should I not go out as far?
That's up to you. I just want you to do 1 push-up.
Oh.
And then walk your feet forward. Perfect.
Oh, Gina, you're killing me.
And walk your feet back. Now try to keep your head between your arms so it isn't sticking out.
Okay.
There you go. Good. And push up.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. And yep. All right, so we'll do 1 more of each of those.
Should I like stand up in between those, or?
I don't suggest that
No.
only because you get a rest, right? And I've already discussed the resting thing and how I'm not a big fan of it. Head between your arms.
Oh, yeah.
Good. And push up. Yeah, so you can do the push up just because we're focusing on the inchworm. If you want to have wherever your hands end up is fine.
Okay.
If you need to adjust them for comfort, that's okay too. And push up again. Yep, that's good. And then walk them in, so head right here. So we're actually gonna talk a little bit about the head thing for a second.
Yeah.
So when you're like this, here's head out, here's head in.
So your back is way straighter.
Yes.
Yeah.
So which one do you think is gonna stretch your arms more and your legs?
That one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So go ahead and just do that part for me for a second. So as you're walking out, we're getting that head in there. Now, one easy way to know if you don't know if your head's in, are you able to see your toes?
Yes.
If you can see them, your head's in. If you can't, your head's out. And this is a yoga type position. A lot of us are super busy and we don't have necessarily time to do strength training and cardio and yoga and it's just a lot, right? So the more we can combine things and kind of get the benefit of a lot of things at once, it's very helpful. That was great. So you can stand up. So as far as the standing up, if you're looking for a cardio effect, you might find that standing up and going back down again, it's gonna give you that. But as far as strengthening the arms, the more time you take away from actually working those arms, that is going to inhibit your strength building. So the more time under the exercise is better for that. We are going to do,
I'm sweating.
Chocolate kiss push-ups next.
Okay.
Who doesn't like a chocolate kiss, right? So we're gonna
love
do
those.
Index finger and thumb touching, and that forms your little kiss shape. Okay, and we'll do the knees push-ups for this. Now this one, your hand should actually go right between your chest and your belly button. So like way lower. Yeah, for these. Now, I would like you to, I know it, she probably already feels it, just like this.
I do.
I want you to try to think of, this is something you're gonna think, elbows sliding up your waist as you bend your arms. So not sticking way out,
so going
but pulled in, back. So depending on your flexibility level in your shoulders, not everyone's gonna be able to make their elbows touch their sides. That's fine. You just wanna keep them as close to your sides as you can.
It's very hard. Push-ups are something that I struggle with, definitely.
Right, and by doing the hands this way, you're really forcing those triceps to work super hard. Now, just to test something, I'm gonna have you walk your hands 3 inches forward like you originally had them.
Here.
And just try one there, and it's probably gonna be way easier. Yeah. So
it's still hard, but yeah.
Yeah, but the other problem with it, you can take a rest for a second. When your hands are way up like that, it is putting some strain on your shoulders. And even if it's not hurting you right now, you don't wanna have form problems that could eventually lead to an injury. So we wanna make sure that we're aware of the form for all these exercises. So really, what you want is let me actually spin to the side a little bit so it's easier to see. So you want your hands under your chest for the normal push-up, the elbow push-up, they're forward, and then these ones, they're further back. So there's really 3 positions depending on what type.
And you can even see, like, you can already tell that you're gonna put less strain on your shoulders and everything just by looking at your
Absolutely. And the problem is, if you're used to doing it incorrectly, it will feel funny at first. But once you just force yourself to make that change, it'll become a lot easier over time. We're gonna do a fun one next with the medicine ball. So you can go ahead and lie on your back.
Yeah. That sounds fun.
And I'm gonna give you this. So all she's gonna do is she's gonna toss the ball as high as she can. So the faster you go, the higher the ball's gonna be. But the catch is, you have to catch it, right? So go ahead and give that a shot. Now I tell my clients, it's just like a pinball machine. It launches that ball. So try to do it even though everyone has one arm is more dominant than the other. We want to make sure that we use both arms the same. If you're using one arm more, you're going to see the ball go flying to the side. This is a 4. It is on the light side, but it's a great starting point. An 8 or a 10 is probably going to give you the best results. But if you have a lighter ball, just do more reps. So I usually suggest 30 to 50 out of these.
Wow.
Which really, it's pretty fun to do it, so it goes by fast. But, and also try to get to the point where you're catching and tossing all at one fell swoop. Yeah, so just real fast. So you can see the control gets a little bit more tricky if she does it quick.
Yeah, it's harder to do.
And if you have a basketball player, that can be hard because they're so used to the one hand kind of thing, but.
I definitely did not play basketball.
Okay.
So no worries there.
Yeah, exactly. Looks like you're able to use those arms pretty even. So this is a good one to do at the end, once your arms are already pretty tired and you can kind of just finish off the job with the medicine ball.
It's very hard. All of this is so much harder than it looks.
A little bit more down, like keep it moving. You're pausing a little bit too much. There you go. Yeah, good. And the more you can tighten up your abs, it's gonna help keep that ball in the same spot. Let's do another 5 of these.
If I can throw it to myself, that'd be great.
All right, that's good. Let me take the ball from you. So this ball actually does bounce. So you could do it against a wall as well, and you adjust this way, you know, but that's a good way to start, is just on your back. So
yeah, I like that. That was fun.
Cool. So how did that feel? Does that feel like something you could incorporate into your week?
I love that. And it's really quick.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty snappy.
Yeah, but I'm sweating.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
So even, that was just one round we went through. You could do 2 to 3 rounds, you know, once you're used to it. And that's gonna really help your arms out. I would say twice a week is a good frequency, because you do need some days in between. When you do the strength training, you're pulling and ripping your muscles apart in little microscopic level. And then you need 24 to 40 hours for those muscles to repair themselves. Yeah. So it's a nice thing to throw in between some of the other cardio type stuff you might do.
Cool.
So you did great.
That was fun.
Wonderful. We are gonna move next to the Twitter question that came in this month. I am doing all this hard work in the gym. What can I eat to improve my muscle building results? Does this make sense to you, this question? Is that something you've thought about?
Yeah, I know just from being around the gym and all of that stuff that food is like almost more important than being at the gym. Like you need to eat well to see results in the first place.
Yeah, no, I think that that's a true thing. Because if you think about it, your body is made of stuff, and that stuff comes mostly from our food. So the exercise is like a program. It tells your body, what do I do with these cells? Do I build strength and muscle, or do I build fat? Or do I lose fat or muscle, right? So, but you can't build with no materials, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the food comes in. So the question about the muscle building, so that's gonna come down to what you're putting into your body. So the main thing of that is gonna be protein. Do you make an effort to get protein during the day?
That's the thing that I struggle with the most.
Okay.
Is getting protein.
So do you just not really like protein foods, or do you not know which foods have it? Or
I think it's kind of a combination of all of those things.
Okay.
It's just not knowing. And then you get into like supplements and all the protein powders, and it's like, what's the best for you?
So it's just like too many choices.
Yeah, it's just a lot of, like, I like meat and chicken and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like knowing what's the best.
Okay. So what I tend to do with people is I'll ask them, hey, what foods do you like? And then we'll try to find foods with protein that they like, because why eat something you don't like?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be sustainable anyway. So my go-tos are gonna be all the dairy foods, like your cheeses, your milks, your yogurts. Then you have all the meats, the fish, the beef, chicken, all of that. There are supplements like protein bars and protein shakes. Those are fine, but they're called supplements for a reason. You don't want to live off them, you know, every meal having, that's just, because it's a processed food, right? So really we want to go for those foods that you can tell, like, oh, that's an egg, I can see it, it looks like an egg, like it, versus, you know, getting something from like a jar, right?
Yeah.
So
and that stuff doesn't taste that great anyway.
Yeah. So what I ask for people to do with this muscle building goal is try to get at least 3 times a day some significant protein. So for a lot of people, that's gonna be the breakfast, lunch, dinner. If you happen to have a breakfast that is low in protein, like you grab a bagel at Dunkin' Donuts, it's not really enough protein in that, but you can make up for it by having a protein snack. So how do you think you're doing right now with that, if I say the 3 times a day?
I think it depends on the day.
It depends on the day, yep, fair answer.
Because I like eggs and I like, you know, nuts, like I'll grab like cashews and stuff like that, which I know has a little bit of protein.
It does.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay. So stuff like that, but some days are the grab stuff at Dunkin' Donuts or grab, you know, something on the way home, which I know is not good. So it just depends on the day.
Yeah, so what I tell people to do too is, like, obviously we all have those days where we have to just grab something. You know what, go on your phone and Google search the protein level in it and say, all right, I'm gonna go to Dunkin' Donuts. What can I find there that has the most protein? Because it's just reality, you're gonna stop sometimes and get something, but by looking up what you're interested in eating, it's gonna educate you along the way so you can get that. And as far as snacks go, almonds have the most protein of any of the nuts. Well, peanuts and almonds actually both. So those are higher than cashews.
Okay.
So if you have the choice, go for those. Yeah, because those are really gonna be. And aside from the protein, just your general caloric intake is important. A lot of people, when they start working out, they think, oh, I'm gonna, you know, go on a diet so that I can whatever, like it just goes together, I think, in people's minds. That's fine, but you want to make sure you're getting enough of the good foods. So rather than just taking out all the foods that you think are unhealthy, what are you adding in? So making sure you're getting your whole grains, oatmeal, whole wheat, that kind of thing. You mentioned you like pizza.
Yeah.
And your shirt sort of gives that away too.
I love pizza.
There's things that can be done with the pizza to help. What is your normal pizza strategy?
Pizza strategy. Well, we talked earlier before the show. I love vegetables on my pizza.
Yes.
So it's kind of an easy way to get all of those vegetables, like fresh vegetables. Like sometimes it's mushrooms and peppers and tomatoes. And then my husband and I will buy like a crust from like Market Basket, like a pre-made, and we'll put our own stuff on it. We're into fresh mozzarella cheese now, so trying to do more like real stuff and not just
That's a really good thing. Have you ever experimented with whole grain pizza crusts?
No.
That's a good thing to try.
Yeah.
Because the whole grain has a few things. It has more vitamins and minerals in it. It has more fiber, which is going to keep you satisfied longer. Yeah. So you're not going to be reaching for other stuff like later on as much.
More pizza.
Right, exactly. So then maybe 1 or 2 slices will do the job instead of however many.
Okay.
So that's a good thing. Also, the whole grains does have more protein too.
Oh.
Now, if you like pepperoni and hamburger and stuff, that is going to add protein to your pizza. So, I mean, it depends. Like, it can be a way to get some extra protein. And a lot of people shy away from that because they think, oh, it's making the fat higher. Yes, but again, we're trying to get that protein in. So it's worth it to make your caloric level of your pizza to go up a little bit more if you're gonna feel more satisfied from that and get the nutrients that your body needs from all these workouts.
It's making me hungry.
Right? And all the veggies too, like she said, that's gonna, so really what you wanna do, like she was saying, is find ways to sneak the veggies in. We wanna welcome them in at all times. It's just because I mean, even if you make a sandwich, throw some lettuce leaves and spinach on there. All that stuff does add up and it really helps.
I like that.
Yeah. So snacks-wise, what have you done for that? Like, is it?
That's the hardest thing. That's usually grab a protein bar or a handful of nuts. That's where I don't know as much about what protein is in different snacks. That's where I struggle.
Yeah.
And then usually it's grabbing like a cookie or something like that, or fruit, which I know doesn't have a ton of protein either.
Yeah. So what I suggest with snacks is to try to get your snacks to 20 grams of protein. So to give you an example, our Greek yogurt is probably gonna have about 14, and a handful of almonds is 5.
Okay.
So that's basically 20 right there.
It's a good snack.
Right?
Put the almonds in the yogurt.
Totally. Whereas if you have even like hard-boiled egg, you're like, oh, I'm eating a hard-boiled egg, look at me with my egg. 7 grams. That's not what I said. So I said 20, right? So you're like, well, what could I have with the egg? So it's really that once you get to that level of the 20 grams, that's where your body's really getting the benefits from it. So that's a good little tip too.
Yeah.
So obviously you're not gonna know all this stuff offhand. So when you're ready to have your snack, look it up. Teach yourself what has what. I mean, it's easy now with the internet like available so much. You don't have to call your nutritionist. You can look it up yourself, right?
There's some good apps and stuff too.
Totally. So 20 grams every meal and snack, and you'll be good.
I like that.
So a nice little number to shoot for.
I know, I like that. That gives me, like you said, it gives me a goal, so I know it's not just like, oh, I'm gonna eat this thing that has protein in it. It actually has like a number, and I can give it a value.
Nice. Cool. All right, so everybody, we're gonna go home and work our triceps and be able to put our overhead bins right in there, and it'll be perfect. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.